All right, it is UFC. I guess I'm just a UFC athlete. I don't even know what weight division you're going to be in yet. You might be in two divisions, but he's got a UFC contract. That's what matters. Darrius Flowers. It's a week later. I mean, talk to me. I feel like we talked to you on those nights you get your contract, and it's still kind of like processing, maybe setting in a little bit. Now that you had a little time to think about it, man. What are the feelings like for you right now?
Um, Feels great, you know. I'm just ready. I'm ready to get it, man, and get started, you know. And I'm just anxious to get started, you know. That's what I'm feeling. I'm just
I
ready.
bet. I bet. Talk to me about, after you get it done, you walk away with the contract. Do you get a little Vegas celebration in? Do you enjoy the moment, or is it like, well, we just got to worry about work?
Well, I was already going to Vegas before I got the Contender Series call. My buddy is getting married. I'm the best man, so we is having a bachelor party starting on my birthday, the 25th to the 29th. But we already knew that I was gonna be fighting before or after that, and it just happened to be before when they set everything up. We called me. So I mean, yeah, I did celebrate right after. Pretty much went into bachelor mode.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it? I mean, you fight, you get a UFC contract, and then you get to hang out with your boy in Vegas on a bachelor party. That seems like a pretty good little agenda right there.
Yeah, it was actually 10 of us. So that we definitely had a ball.
That's awesome. I guess it kind of turned into a little celebration of you as well, right? I mean, I know you're trying to honor
Yeah,
your boy, but they had to be
yeah,
happy for you.
that's exactly what it was. Like I was trying to, still honor my boy, but he was like, still super selfless himself. We were both trying to be selfless, and you know, but it was a great time.
That's awesome, man. Now you got the UFC contract. I guess what I'm wondering is, did you get any offers from like WWE or AEW? I mean, the pile driver was the talk of the town, man.
And eventually, I'm going to start slamming the shit out of people because I kind of I like this, everything. And then you just kind of get complacent and forget that you can slam the shit out of people, which I've always done that anyway. I think everybody that I fought has got the shit slammed out of them. I just wasn't trying to finish the fight with the slam. I think I'm gonna start more so working on that actually, trying to finish more fights with body slams. Which actually I do have one. If you look at my record, it says verbal submission. It was from a guy who did body slam and hurt his shoulder, but he kept fighting for another minute or so. But it led up to him not getting back up. So
That's all. So we can't even like call this. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that was a freak injury. That was a freak occurrence." We can't even call it that because you've done it before.
yeah, and I've done it in wrestling. I've been doing it my whole life. So it's not like it's like what I mean. I'm a wrestler. That's what happens in wrestling. I've actually accidentally hurt one of my buddies who had to leave the military early discharge because his shoulder was bad from high school wrestling. Like, you know what I mean? It's just something that happens in sports, you know what I mean? Especially wrestling and fighting.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of those in the UFC, man, because those make some highlights. You think of
Absolutely.
course Quentin Rampage Jackson. You think of Gerald Harris as well. I mean, some guys that had some amazing slams over the years. So maybe we'll
Mhm.
put you up there with those guys.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking for slam. Rampage, one of my guys I like to watch or whatever, but he's always slamming people with bad intentions. And I can see Spurs similar styles myself with guys like that.
I love it. So, Darius, talk to me about the way this year started, right? So, for anybody that doesn't realize it, earlier in this year, you fought three fights in the span of basically like 3 weeks. And I'm just curious, like, did you go into that stretch feeling like, hey, we got to start getting busy? Or like, how did that play out that you end up getting booked so frequently? And hell, it worked out. You won all three and you got an invitation to Contender Series.
I've always been an active fighter. Um, just my mindset and approach to the fight allows me to be able to come out on top and to be able to compete within a short amount of time. And when I was an amateur, I fought like 3 times in 1 month, a couple times. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys really don't know. I'm super experienced in combat sports, and I've done a lot of things and sacrificed a lot in other sports just to become better in this sport. So, you know,
So, I mean, did you go into that stretch knowing like, hey, I'm going to fight and then I want to fight again as quickly as possible? Or was it
well,
just
the
calls came
plan
up?
the plan was 5 to 7 fights before, we get in, but the way it happened is I beat 10-4 brown belt, um, Tim Karen, the Contender Series veteran, and then LFA called me and like, hey, we got a short notice fight, and I took that. And, when you get to playing on that level of competition and on that regional scene, all the eyes are on you, especially when you had a resume like myself, like everybody. I was always on the fence. You know what I mean? Like, man, if this guy can get it together. And then they called me again after I won that fight, and it was just like my phone was blowing up, so I knew it was like, fuck, it's not gonna be 5 to 7 fights. You know what I mean? So we got it done with the Contender Series shortly after, which you can kind of feel it. Like I said, I was hoping for 5 to 7 to get that more experience. You know what I mean? I'm an active fighter. I like to fight, but you can kind of feel it throughout, right? Like right after the first one, and it's like shit might happen a lot faster than you think. You know what I mean? Especially when you go fight good competition, like you know what I mean. So, and plus I managed myself. Well, not anymore, but I was managing myself. So, for me to be able to get fights, it's absolutely up to me. It's fights everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So.
That's awesome. Would you recommend that to guys coming up, or would you say it's better to have somebody representing you?
It just depends on the athlete. Some guys are always going to be the underdogs, and like with from my position, I was always the underdog going and I didn't have a hometown. I didn't have a promoter behind me. So my best thing was to find good fights. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on where you're at in your career, but you know what I'm saying? And it also depends on like if you have somebody backing you or people backing you and you have promotion here. Because if you don't, you know what I mean, then you might as well. Either not have a manager or just have somebody helping you in the game to get where you want to go. But if you do have, these promotions that will get behind you, then you probably should have a manager to, work things out with them and then build yourself that way. But it's different for everybody, so I really can't recommend it. What I did for everybody else, but it's a lot of guys like myself out there.
Yeah, solid advice. All right, well, let's talk about your future then. You said on the night of, I don't know what division I'm going to be in. I think I'm going to be in all of them. I think I'm going to fight all over the
Well,
place. Have you had any more talk about that since? Have you had any more thought about that, like where the debut is going to be
well,
made?
it's official. My first fight is going to be at lightweight. Unless it's a short notice 170 fight, which I'm hoping for really bad. I really want to fight short notice 170, but whatever, it could be whenever. Um, but it's gonna be lightweight. Like I took off these last 4 days, which I haven't done. Take a day off in like 9 months, and I'm only still like 183 pounds right now after my first workout. So I definitely, what I mean, lightweight. You know. So we'll go train here after this interview, and then I got another night session. So probably be like freaking 178 tonight. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
that's crazy. So, I mean, when you say short notice welterweight, like you could take a day or two and you'd be fine.
I probably wouldn't take one like on the third this weekend, depending on the opponent, because I took off 4 days. You know what I mean? So that like 4 days will kick your ass a little bit on at this high level. You know what I mean? Especially the way that I train, taking off 4 days is a lot. You know what I mean? If I want to take a break, I just train one time instead of two or three. So yeah, but I'll definitely take something like on later in September or October.
Awesome, brother. Well, listen, man, we're looking forward to it, man. That was an amazing, debut to a lot of people. It might have been the first time for a lot of people to see you, and I think you made quite the impression with that big slam finish. And hopefully, we get to see more of them in the UFC sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, you definitely will, my guy. I appreciate you.